Shalom. I think my camera's crooked. But it is what it is. Hopefully everyone's well. I want to do this deep video explaining how Hebrews were Muslims. Now I'm going to give you all a chance to get in here. First one in. I think I'm clear. Visit the website, upscaleknowledge.org. My lecture magazines are there. And other services that I have. What else? Subscribe to the channel. And become a channel member. Peace and Wisdom Griffmatic. Y'all are pretty late, huh? Some of y'all are a few hours behind, so it may be early where you're at. It's about close to 1 where I'm at. But it's okay because I had me. Woo! I had me a power nap. You know, one of them quick short naps that turn into a whole full sleep. Yeah, I had one of those. It was great. Now I'm up and ready. No, I'm just playing. I'm still sleepy a little bit. So let's keep this nice and, you know. I'm like a child. I'll round myself up, you know. I need handlers. I need handlers because, you know, I'm out of control. Now, let's start this deep content. Hopefully everyone's well. Hopefully everyone washed their eyes. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Now, I want to take this time out to explain this deep scholarship. I'm going to be reading from Islamic scholarship as well as, you know, the good old Holy Bible. To make a point to anyone who wants to know. That point being, Hebrews of old and now, whether you're speaking Jews, black Jews, they're Muslims. And so I want to explain this to you guys in depth. Like I said, hopefully everyone's in good spirits. Now, if you're a Christian, Muslim, or whatever religious sect you fall under, this is not a religious channel. I explain ancient scholarship. Layman's terms, I explain ancient artwork, ancient text, ancient science, modern science, scholarships. I explain them in real life so you can grasp it like it was intended to be understood. I'm saying that because a lot of you guys are fanatics in regards to your religion. You're a fanatic. You may see me explaining something, you think this is, you get it? One of those environments where I'm a part of a religion and I'm knocking yours down. I'm not a part of any of y'all religions. I take no sides. So you come here if you want to just hear the unbiased truth of whatever scholarship I'm explaining. Now, when you're dealing with Muslims, most Muslims are born into it, especially the Arabic ones. They're kind of born into it before they can even read and write and speak the language. That's not a jab or attack. I'm just bringing an awareness. If you're a Muslim, you was born into that. And so you never really read into it. You get it? You're a Muslim, and that's that. And most Muslims you see, so it's the same. You do have black Muslims. Most of them come from prison. And I'll give them, which is sad to say, they know the scholarship probably better than an Arab Muslim because Arab Muslims are born into it. So they never truly read into it. They just trust it's their culture. You get it? It's kind of like your family history. You just trust your family's telling you the truth. You don't really, you get it? With black people, go to jail. They have time to read. You get my point in that they read. I'm saying that if you're a fanatic, you don't have to come here because I'm not a part of any religion. And so this is not the sides place. If I'm explaining something and it makes your religion look bad, it's not for Christians. It's not for Pan-Africans. It's just the reality of your religion. And so it's the same for Christians or whoever. You get my point? I don't have a problem with any religious people. Y'all are fanatics and easily disturbed for no reason. But it's a reason to you. And so I just enjoy it. Like, I want to be disturbed, so I have fun. I'm going to continue to, but I respect all matters. You want to make a mockery of something, you get my point? It's your religion. Do as you want. Meaning if I'm explaining something in regards to your religion, and you want to make it a tacky hot mess, well, that's on you and your religion. You get my point? Now, let's get to this deep knowledge. Like I said, I just had me a nice nap. Make me a pork, bacon. No, I gotta stop bothering y'all. Some things I just say just to get on y'all nerves because y'all shallow. So, make me some chitlins, you hear? That's the ass of the pig. This is the best part. Like, when you talking pork, you gotta start with that foot. You know, that pig feet. And then you get to that butt. You know, that's that chitlins. So good. Put some hot sauce on that thing like my grandma used to do. Woo! My personal. No, I'm just playing. If you my age or younger, we don't eat that. We don't mess with that. That's grandma and them bump. Mm-mm. But I like having fun with y'all, like I said. Some of y'all are goofy and shallow-minded. Pork ain't my thing, but to each his own. If I'm at your house and your mom is serving pork chops for dinner, I'll eat it. I'm gonna shit it out. No big deal. I ain't tripping about it. I don't live to eat. Eating is just something I have to do ever so often, and that, it's no big deal. I'm gonna do that right on out. Flush on out. Same way I do when I eat stuff I like. Now let's get to this deep scholarship. If anyone wants to give back, my links are in the description. If you're a religious person, pay your tithes. My links are in the description. Now, let's begin. I look you. I need to get a little more sleep. I'm sorry. The Lord is beautiful, so I should have brushed my teeth. I'm just playing. Relax. Chill. Now, let's start. It's 9-minute mark. Damn, a little shit talk go long. Excuse my language. Now I'm going to explain how Hebrews, Jews, black or white, were Muslims first. Now, the beginnings of Islam, the religion and the scholarship. Hopefully I'm clear. If I need to lower the music, let me know. But when you're dealing with Islam, the religion and the scholarship, it starts with the Prophet Muhammad and the angel Jibril. This is Surah 96 or Surah Al-Alaq. Now, I'm not saying that that surah is the beginnings of the Quran, but I'm saying it's the beginnings of the religion. That surah is basically when the angel Jibril beat up Muhammad. I'm saying beat him up because that's what I got from reading it. It says Jibril squeezed Muhammad, not in a it wasn't a pleasant encounter, meaning he left there disturbed, according to the scholarship. After Muhammad seen Jibril and Jibril choked him out, they say he squeezed him or pressed him. This is like when you choke somebody. Muhammad thought he was going to die, so the angel choked him, told him to read. Now, that verse, or the verses, surahs before it, leading up to that one, is the beginnings of the religion. This is when Muhammad got beat up by the angel Jibril. Now, I want y'all to grasp how important that part of the story is. If Muhammad didn't get, meaning when Jibril's telling Muhammad to read and he's saying he can't, he had 3 times to get it right, or Jibril was going to kill him. Most people, when they reading these scholarships, they're not reading it in real life. So they're not imagining it in real life. Muhammad's in a cave, Jibril pulls up. He don't know who that is, he's scared to death. This the same angel that beat up Jacob, knocked his hip out the socket. He just touched it. So dude must have been huge. Or you can read it from whatever pretense you want. But you get it? Meaning some of y'all are lost in allegory and you get it? It's written how it's written. You read it how it's written. Jibril was physical enough to beat up Muhammad or squeezing. You follow? Peace and wisdom, Lisa. And so I'm just trying to get y'all to grasp the severity of that part of the story. Meaning the beginnings of Islam starts with force. Meaning the religion was beat into Muhammad. He was scared to death of Jibril. When he seen him the next time, he tried to act like he didn't see him. Meaning he was scared of him. If you read the surah and you're not biased and you don't already have a perspective, you will clearly see like, okay, Jibril is like beating him up, roughhousing him. And so maybe there was a translation error. I don't want to say an error because can't and won't kind of means the same. It can be confused in translation. I'm saying that because the Prophet Muhammad could not read. So for Jibril to tell him to read makes no sense. Who would tell somebody to read that can't? In that, you have to grasp Jibril is telling him to recite, like speak. Muhammad is telling him no, like I won't. Whatever he's telling him to say, Muhammad won't. He's like, I can't, but like I said, translation can't and won't could get, confused. In any regards, Muhammad refused to read or said he couldn't 3 times, but then magically the third time he started reading. Blood beat him up because he kept refusing to recite what he told him to. And on the third time, I guess Muhammad realized Blood gonna kill me in this cave if I don't say what he's telling me to. And so, like I said, this is Surah Al-Alaq, where Jibril tells him to say, in the name of your Lord, who created man from a clot, and your Lord is most generous. He who taught by the pen taught man things he never knew, so on and so forth. You get my point? This becoming the whole Quran book, so to say. But do you get my point? Muhammad can't read, so if you're familiar with the text, Jibril had him in a cave for quite a while, basically making him memorize everything he was telling him to say. I'm saying that so y'all could grasp the religion was forced onto the Prophet Muhammad. He was choked out, probably fainted. Who's to say? The point of the verse or the scholarship was to let you know that he was gonna say what the angel was telling him to or die right there in that cave. And so Muhammad chose to oblige. Peace and wisdom, different angles. Make sure you catch the beginnings. I'm not sure why you retracted your comment. Now, the same thing happened with Jacob, meaning the religion was beat into him in perspective. It's like I said, Jacob, he wrestled with the Lord. This was supposed to be Jibril. And Jibril beat him up, knocked his hip out the socket. Let's go to the actual scholarship. I brought the good book today. Genesis chapter 32, verse 22. This is when Jacob gets beat up by Jibril, or the Lord. I'm just going to show you how, when you're dealing with these religious texts, people are getting beat up to be in it. It's like Moses and the Hebrews. He led them into the wilderness. Then he went up to the mountain. They made a calf and started worshiping whatever they wanted to. He came back and killed them. I'm going to read that too, but let's start with Jacob. Genesis chapter 32, verse 22, it says, and he arose that night and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. He took them, sent them over the brook, and sent over what he had. Then Jacob was left alone. See, it's like I told you in yesterday's video. He sent all his people ahead of him because he knew he was going to get his ass whooped. And he didn't want them to see. It's a deep thing. I'm not making this up. It says it in the text. He sent his people first. I started a little after, meaning I started at 22. If you go, you could start at chapter 32, verse 1, and read down yourself. He sent Whoever was with him over everything he had, his wives, kids, whole tribe basically. And then he stayed to fight. And that you gotta have a mind to know. Oh yeah, he knew he was gonna get his ass whooped. Now, he didn't want them to see. Now it says, then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. That means he beat him up all night. All night. This is deep. You have to picture it in your mind. Can you imagine somebody getting their ass whooped all night? Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for day breaks. Basically telling Jacob, I like to put it in real terms. So he's basically telling Jacob, get off me, you strong ass Hebrew nigga. I already beat your ass all night. It's daytime. Get off me. Jacob holding on for dear life like Martin was holding on to Tommy Hearn's feet when he beat him up. He was just holding on for dear life like, no. So I'm just putting it in real life perspective. Please nobody take offense. I read the text. And I'm just putting it in a real life perspective with you. Jacob's wrestling this big dude. Dude is so big, he just touched his hip. Knocked it out the socket. So dude's whooping Jacob's ass all night. But he's like, this is pointless. I already beat dude up. Y'all got real life. When dudes get beat up, then they want to fight over and over. You like, I already beat you up the first time. The first 18. I already beat you up the first 18 times, big baby. It's daytime. So Jacob's like, this is verse 28. No, I'm sorry. 26. And he said, let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. This is what Jacob told him. So he said to him, what is your name? He said, Jacob. And he said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. Now in a nutshell, he whooped Jacob's ass. He's like, get off me. I beat your ass all night. It's daytime now. Jacob's like, I'm not about, you get it? I'm not about to walk back to my tribe limping with my ass all beat up. You feel me? So he's like, you gotta give me something. Like, bless me with something so it look like I won. So Blood's like, listen, man. The best I could do is give you a new name. Because everybody know I whooped Jacob's ass. So now you don't have to be Jacob no more. You could be Israel. So when they telling the story like, yeah, you know Jacob? Dude that got his ass whooped. Dude that got his ass whooped all night by the Lord. When they telling the story, your name is Israel now. No one knows it's you. So you get my point? You got to put everything in perspective. I'm not being funny. Dude whipped his ass. He said, bless me. Bless me mean give me something. If you fighting somebody, you tell them to give you something, that means you want to make it look like I won. Blood like I ain't giving you nothing, I'll change your name. So when the story get told how I whooped your ass, you won't be Jacob. You won't be dude that got his ass whooped all night by the Lord. But I'm just giving y'all references so y'all could see religion is always, it's like you heard with the slaves of America, man. It was beating to them. Now, like I said, Islam, the religion and the scholarship, it starts with Jibril and Muhammad. And Jibril telling Muhammad, read. Now, when the black Jews or Hebrew Israelites of the daytimes are teaching, the speaker always says, read. And their subject recites the verse. And this is done in respects to the beginnings of their religion, which is Islam. We're speaking of Hebrews. And some of y'all will probably get lost and say Hebrews are not Muslims. They not Christians either, but they read from the Holy Bible and they teach Jesus and everything else that Christians teach, except they just say it's all black. But I'm giving you that reference so you could grasp. A Jew or a Hebrew follows Judaism, and their book is the Torah. A Hebrew Israelite's supposed to be reading the Torah. But you can go online right now and you're going to see the Hebrew Israelites are reading from the Bible. I'm giving you that reference so you can grasp. The Hebrews don't know what they are. So when I tell you the Hebrews were Muslims, this is why they say read. And their subject recites the verse. And that's the same thing that happened in the beginnings of Islam with Jibril and Muhammed. If you think that's by mistake, I don't know what to tell you. But that come from that. Meaning Jibril told Muhammad to recite the verse in, do you get it? Now when you're dealing with Hebrews, no one else does that but them. And that's in reference to the beginnings of Islam, which is their religion. Meaning the Hebrew was a Muslim. I'm going to explain more in depth, but I'm trying to get y'all to grasp. And Hebrew was a Muslim. If you look at how the women dress, the men dress, dress like Islamic people, not Christians. The women cover their head. You get my point? They have fasting days like Muslims. Christians don't have fasting days. Again, a Hebrew was a Muslim. If that sounds strange to you, well, a Hebrew is a Jew, which means they follow Judaism and they're supposed to read from the Torah, but they read from the Bible when they technically a Christian, even though they're supposed to be a Jew. You can see that right now, even with the white Jews. They read from the Bible, not the Torah. Somehow they became Christians. So then you shouldn't be confused if I say Hebrews was Muslims first. They everything. You see it with your own eyes. Otherwise, you explain it to me. Why does black Hebrews or black Jews and white Jews in today's times, why do they read from the Holy Bible, which is Christianity? Because they don't know what they are, clearly. I'm not making fun of them. I'm just scholarship and reality. Again, a Jew is someone who is into Judaism. Their book is the Torah. The book still exists, but for some reason, nobody's a Jew. In terms of that, like reading the Torah and saying that Judaism is their religion, not in the West. And when I see the white Jews with the curly sideburns, you get my point? They're reading the Holy Bible. But none of that matters, because if you go over like to the Middle East, the Jews and the Muslims, they share the same holy place. So if you thinking to say, man, he made this up, y'all are high. A Hebrew was a Muslim, and to this day, Jews and Muslims still worship in the same place over in the Middle East. Where's that? Mecca, I think? I don't remember. Somewhere over there. But do you get my point? Y'all know where, because this is y'all religions. I'm just reminding y'all things y'all already know. And so it shouldn't sound that far-fetched that a Hebrew was a Muslim before they became a Christian that they are today. Now let's get to the scholarship. Here's the proof. There's the prophet Musa or Moses, either or, depending on if you're Arab or English. If you're English, Moses. Arab, Musa. This is what Arabic people call Moses. Musa. Musa is the most important person in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. You can look that up when you get a time. I'm sure you know in Christianity, Moses is one of the most important prophets. He's the most important one, but I don't want to argue. And I'm sure y'all know Judaism, or the Torah, is basically the beginnings of the Christian Bible. So you got to know he was the most important prophet to the Jews, or those in Judaism. Now in Islam, you may not be familiar with that. But Musa, or Moses, is the most important prophet in Islam. Yes, I know Muhammad is your prophet, but Musa was before him. You have to know your scholarship. And so Muhammad was a follower of Musa, or a Musalim. If you're lost, after Jibril squeezed Muhammad and beat him up, he went back to his wife. And she consoled him, and I think she brought him to her uncle or her brother-in-law. I forget. She brought him to a family member, and they told him that's the same angel that came to Musa and the Israelites. You follow? And so Muhammad was familiar with Musa. Musa and all the other Christian characters are a part of Islam. You follow? Even in Islam, Jesus, he's the savior. They call him Isa though. But I'm going to get into all of that. I'm just giving y'all the perspective or the proof right now. In Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, Musa, Moses, most important prophet. Now that's important because in perspective, a Hebrew is before a Jew, Muslim, and Christian. Meaning Moses or Musa stole or freed the Hebrews from Egypt. That would have made the Hebrews Muslims, or followers of Musa. Again, Moses or Musa stole the Hebrews from Egypt, or he freed them. But he had them, so they wasn't free, meaning they didn't do what he say. So that's why I'm saying he stole them. He didn't free them and say, okay, y'all free, do as y'all want and go on y'all way. He took them into the wilderness and wherever else he wanted to take them. And he abused them too. But, and that's all in scholarship, I'm going to get to that. But, technically the ancient Hebrews from the book, they wouldn't have been Jews yet. Christians, Christians are Islamic people. They would have been Muslims. That's to say followers of Moses, whether by force or not, they would have been Muslims. Peace and wisdom, Joe Blow. This is not an Islamic channel, but you're welcome. And make sure you're listening. Now, like I said, an ancient Hebrew would have been a follower of Musa, or a Musalim. Like I said, he's the one that kidnapped them from Egypt and then led them into the wilderness or the desert for 40 years. That's my whole life. Some of y'all 20 and 30. They was in the desert for 40 years. I'm going to say it again. Musa, he stole the Hebrews from Egypt. Then because of their mischief, they were wandering in the desert or the wilderness for 40 years eating manna. Musa being their leader. Now, let's go to Exodus 32 so y'all can grasp what I'm saying. I'm explaining to y'all how Hebrews were Muslims first. Y'all should be clear on why I say they were Muslims first. They were followers of Musa. That would make them Muslims. That's before a Jew, Islam, Christianity. We should all be in agreement to that. Now, if you go to Exodus 32, it says, this is when Moses goes up, to the mountain. And then the Hebrews start worshiping Islam again, meaning they start worshiping the calf or the bull. And this ties back to ancient Egypt. The ancient Egyptian god Happy, or the Apis bull. Like I said, in Islam, that crescent moon and star is bull horns. This is what would have been on top of the bull's head in the ancient Egyptian religion. Of course, a bull has horns. It looks like a crescent moon. And then the bull will have a star on top of the head. And that was Happy. That's the name of the deity. H-A-P-I. You can Google it when you get a chance. Ancient Egyptian god, H-A-P-I. Or you can just put Apis bull. A-P-I-S. Bull. Go to images so you can get some images of this bull. Then you'll grasp. Okay, that's the Islamic symbol. In ancient Egypt, they had some pre-Islamic thing going on. A lot of symbology, and you get it? Worshipping of bull horns. It has to do with fertility. But this is a biological thing, meaning the male reproductive looks like a bull, and the woman's looks like a ram. That's why the bull has to do with fertility. So does the ram or the lamb. Now in Exodus 32, it says, now when the people saw that Moses delayed coming down from the mountain, the people gathered together to Aaron and said to him, come, make us gods that shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. So Moses is up in the mountain getting the 10 Commandments. It's taking longer than they thought. So you get it? They went to Aaron. They said, we don't know what's up with your boy, but come and make us some gods, because they're trying to go back to their ancient Egyptian ways, worshiping the bull. And Aaron said to them, break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me. So all the people broke off the golden earrings which were in their ears and brought them to Aaron. And he received the gold from their hands, and he fashioned it with an engraving tool and made a molded calf. Then they said, this is your God, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Egypt. So when Aaron saw it, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made a proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to the Lord. Then they rose early on the next day, offered burnt offerings, and brought peace offerings, and the people sat down to eat. A burnt offering is like how y'all cook over the stove now, but this is in a time when you would have had to make your own stove, a fire pit, put some stones around it, X marks the spot. A burnt offering is basically a living being killed. That's an animal or whatever, whatever is meat. It could be a person. Now, it says, they sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Now I'm at chapter 32, verse 7. And the Lord said to Moses, Go get down, for your people whom you brought out of the land of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made themselves a molded calf and worshipped it and sacrificed to it. Now I'm going to skip down a little bit. Most of y'all should be familiar with the story of Moses. He comes down, he throws, the 10 Commandments at them. And I'm going to scurry on down a little bit to verse 19. Verse 19, it says, So it was as soon as he came near the camp that he saw the calf. Moses is arriving. And the dancing. So Moses' anger became hot, and he cast the tablets out of his hand and broke them at the foot of the mountain. Then he took the calf which they had made, burnt it in the fire, and ground it to powder, and he scattered it on the water and made the children of Israel drink it. Read this book. Most of y'all didn't even know that. Blood made them drink that shit. Meaning Moses was cold-blooded. He came off that mountain, he seen them carrying on, worshiping what he told them not to, because he owned them now. Blood went crazy on him. Threw them tablets on the thing. He burnt the calf up, put it in the water, and told them niggas drink it and die. Like blood was ruthless. You gotta remember Moses was a soldier for the Egyptians. So that basically like to say he was an officer of the court. He'd lay hands upon you. If the Pharaoh tell him to cut your head off, he'd be the one doing it. Moses. So killing people, and you get it? That was light work to him. And I'm going to show y'all how much light work it was. Because in a little Hollywood movie, I think, or maybe just from storyline, we think like Moses killed Aaron or one of the people. He hit them with the tablets, but that's not true. Moses killed 3,000 Hebrews that day. For that, go to the text. Now, it says, he made them drink it. And Moses said to Aaron, What did this people do to you that you have brought so great a sin upon them? He talking about what he about to do to them. So Aaron said, Do not let the anger of my Lord become hot. You know the people, that they are set on evil. For they said to me, Make us gods that shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man who brought us out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. And I said to them, Whoever has any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it to me, and I cast it into the fire, and this calf came out. Now when Moses saw that the people were unrestrained, meaning naked, for Aaron had not restrained them, to their shame amongst their enemies, then Moses stood in the entrance of the camp and said, Whoever is on the Lord's side, come to me. He's speaking of himself. Whoever's on the Lord's side amongst all the Hebrews, come to me. Then Moses stood in the entrance of the camp and said, Whoever is on the Lord's side, come to me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together to him, just them. And he said to them, Thus says the Lord God of Israel, Let every man put his sword on his side, and go in and out from entrance to entrance throughout the camp, and let every man kill his brother, every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. So the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and about 3,000 men of the people fell that day. That part. How many of y'all know that part of the story? You didn't read the scholarship. You just a whole Christian but don't know why. And so again, like I said, religion is forced on the people. Moses came back, they wasn't cooperating with what he said. And so he killed 3,000 of them that day. We talking the Hebrews, the people he freed. But like I said, this don't sound like a freeing matter. It sound like Moses is they new God and Lord, and they better like not play with him because blood will whack them. Now I read directly out the text. You can pick up the book your own self and read the whole thing. Why don't you? If you have any troubles, you can get a one-on-one from me. If you're a Christian and this is the book that you're supposed to be reading. If not, you're a Muslim, the Quran's your book. A master scholar in that too. Now, I read that so y'all can see that 3,000 Hebrews was killed that day in the wilderness. This is after Moses freed the Hebrews from Egypt. So technically, the Hebrews would have been Muslims. Moses is Musa, and they would have been followers of Musa, making them what we know in today as Muslims. This is why Musa is an important prophet in Islam. This is where you get the term Muslim from. So again, this is why Musa is the most important prophet in Islam. Now, hopefully y'all grasp that the Hebrews were Muslims, not because I want them to be, just it has to do with Musa or Moses. And like I said, he led them into the wilderness. And for 42 years, they were wandering in the wilderness, eating manna. And this was because of their dishonor, meaning they don't know how to, you get it? Work together and stick to the script. They're all over the place. So they just scattered all abroad in the wilderness. Now, of course, Moses has the Levites amongst them, the children of Levi amongst them, meaning amongst him. But for the rest of the Hebrews, you get my point? They kind of thick-headed people. They do as they want. Now, I have to use the restroom. I'm sorry. I don't know why that happens, but give me a second. I'm going to go more in depth. Okay, I'm back. Now, Musa has these Hebrews wandering in the wilderness for 40 years, and they would be Muslims technically, followers of Musa. Now, at some point, these Hebrews, which are followers of Musa or Muslims, became Jews. Do you follow? Meaning they were called Hebrews, but you figure they would have been called Muslims then. It probably would have went hand in hand. Hebrew comes from Abraham. Meaning if you look up the word Hebrew, that's how we say it in English, but in all other cultures it's Ibram, like I-B-R, you get it? Like Abraham, but with an I, but spelt however they spell it. It may be Ivrim, Ibrahim. If you look up Hebrew, it's pronounced in other cultures Ibrahim. like Abraham. You get my point? And so remember, Abraham is the one that was called the Hebrew. You know, when Lot got kidnapped by the people of Sodom. Y'all gotta read the book and know y'all scholarship, but I'm just explaining, I'm speeding through. I'm assuming some of y'all are Christians or whatever. Y'all should know these things. But a Hebrew basically got to do with Abraham and a language he created, let's say. Abraham being a great sorcerer, a great mage. And then you get my point? His descendants being Hebrews or Hebrews, you know, Abraham people. Then at some point, these Hebrews find themselves in Egypt, now worshiping Egyptian gods, you know, the Apis bull. This is when Moses, you know, steals them. Now they're Muslims, followers of Musa. Now they're in the desert for 40 years. At some point in the Bible, they start being referred to as Jews. No longer Hebrews, which would be a Muslim, but they're referred to as Jews. And that's because they sold out to the Roman Empire of their time. The Roman Empire of their time would have been your early Roman Christian Catholic Church. So you could say the Muslims or the Hebrews, they sold themselves out to the powers of the time, which was your Julius Caesars. Not Julius Caesar the individual. He comes from a whole family of Julius Caesars. That's the name. You could look up Julius Caesar family tree. Not Julius Caesar. Julie, Julii, Caesar family line. So you can see like how it starts with like Leah. But what do they call her? Just look it up in your own time. But that's where Jew come from. They come from when the Julius Caesars was conquering all the places all over the world. And that family line was basically called Jews. For Julius Caesar, the Jews. And as they conquer, you know, they're growing in number. And this is how the Hebrews or the Muslims became Jews, because they were conquered by the Roman powers of the time. In that, you get it, they sold themselves out to the Romans or early Christianity. And so now they're Jews that follow Judaism, which you can kind of say is early Christianity, or the beginnings of it, because Judaism and Christianity, Judaism is Christianity now, meaning Christianity took over Judaism, but I'm going to get to all of that. But I'm just trying to get y'all to grasp. The Hebrews are the Muslims, followers of Musa. This would be the Hebrews. They're the only Muslims y'all can name in life, meaning Musa stole them from Egypt. They would be the Muslims. We know them as Hebrews. Either name you want to use, whatever. But a Muslim is a Muslim. And then they became a Jew, or a follower of Judaism. And they had a book called the Torah. And that happened because they sold themselves out to the Roman powers of that time. This would have been early Christianity, your Julius Caesars. Now, if you go to John chapter 18, verse 10, I'm going to read so y'all can see that the Hebrews sold themselves out to the Roman power. That's how they became Jews. Now, let me find John. Like I said, I usually keep this book next to the trash. That's what I'm like the Hebrews when they be on the corner, they could be like, read, give me verse 35. And be like, Hebrews don't never know how to read. They said read. They picked the nigga that just picking R. Kelly. Okay, John chapter 18. Salam. Salam. John 18, verse 10. This is when the Jews captured Jesus and brought him to the Romans, which is their higher ups. And this is the proof that I was telling you that the Muslims or Hebrews sold themselves out to the Roman Empire. Now, John chapter 18, verse 10 says, Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. This is when they're coming to the courtyard to capture Jesus. It says Simon Peter cut off one of their ears, and his name was Malchus. So Jesus said to Peter, Put your sword into the sheath. Shall I not drink the cup which my Father has given me? Then the detachment of troops and the captain and the officers of the Jews arrested Jesus and bound him. Jews. And they led him away to Annas first, for he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year. Now it was Caiaphas who advised the Jews that it was expedient that one man should die for the people. Meaning this was already, blood was going down, that's that. Anybody, it wouldn't matter who, he'll do. But we not reading after that. We reading this so y'all could see that the Jews captured Jesus and brought him to the Romans. And that y'all know the Romans was over them. That's the Roman Catholic Church of old, or Christianity of old. This is how the Muslims or the Hebrews became Jews, which is to say they're Judaism. They follow Judaism and they have a book. Now, so Jesus said to Peter, Put your sword into the sheath. Shall I not drink the cup which my Father has given me? Then the detachment of troops and the captain and the officers of the Jews arrested Jesus and bound him. And they led him away to Annas first, for he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year. Now it was Caiaphas who advised the Jews that it was expedient that one man should die for the people. And Simon Peter followed Jesus, and so did another disciple. Meaning when they took Jesus away, Simon Peter and another disciple followed. Now that disciple was known to the high priest and went with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. They capture Jesus. They bring the disciple that they didn't name. He goes right in. Set up. Meaning they all set Jesus up. I have a video explaining this. Read the text. Now it says, Now that disciple was known to the high priest and went with Jesus into the courtyard of the high priest. But Peter stood at the door outside. Then the other disciple who was known to the high priest went out and spoke to her who kept the door and brought Peter in. So they capture Jesus. They bring him wherever they bring him. Peter and another disciple follows. That disciple walks right in with them that has Jesus captured. But they make Peter wait at the door. Then Blood come back out, talk to the girl at the door and say, let him in. Set up. He not supposed to know the people capturing Jesus. You follow? That part. Simon Peter and all the 12 disciples and everybody, they sold him out. Like I said, the Jews or the Hebrews, the Muslims, followers of Musa, they sold out to the Romans. Read the damn book and know the religion you in. It's deep. Now, then the servant girl who kept the door said to Peter, "You are not also one of this man's disciples, are you?" He said, "I am not." Now the servants and officers who had made a fire of coals stood there, for it was cold, and they warmed themselves. And Peter stood with them and warmed himself. In case y'all thought like, oh nah, he tripping, it wasn't a setup. Peter came in and he stood with the soldiers that just captured Jesus by the coal of fire, warming himself with them. Setup. Now the servants and officers who had made a fire of coals stood there, for it was cold, and they warmed themselves. And Peter stood with them and warmed himself. The high priest then asked Jesus about his disciples and his doctrine. Jesus answered him, "I spoke openly to the world. I always taught in synagogues and in the temple, where the Jews always meet. And in secret I have said nothing." Notice how Jesus say where the Jews meet, but he's supposed to be a Jew. That part, he ain't a Jew. Shit go deep. Y'all gotta learn to read. I'll get a one-on-one and we read through it together so you can see for yourself. Now, he said, I've spoke publicly to the world. I always taught in synagogues and in the temple where the Jews always meet, and in secret I have said nothing. Why do you ask me? Ask those who have heard me what I said to them. Indeed, they know what I said. And when he had said these things, one of the officers who stood by struck Jesus with the palm of his hand, saying, "Do you answer the high priest like that?" Meaning Jesus said what he did, then he got the shit slapped out of him. Now Simon Peter stood and warmed himself. Therefore they said to him, "You were not also one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it and said, "I am not." And one of the servants of the high priest, a relative of him whose ear Peter cut off, said, "Did I not see you in the garden with him?" Peter then denied again, and immediately a rooster crowed. Then they led Jesus from Caiaphas to the praetorium, and it was early morning. But they themselves did not go into the praetorium, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover. That's the nigga going into the praetorium. And they ate Jesus. That's why they say Mary had a little lamb. Now, lamb chops is delicious, and the Jews eat lambs on the Passover. Look it up. This is disgusting shit y'all worship. Y'all practice eating people in church when y'all pass y'all little grape juice and crackers around. Talking about this is the flesh of Jesus and the blood of Jesus. When you read the book, he don't got nothing to do with y'all. Y'all are ones that killed him. Meaning the Jews in the Roman Catholic Church is supposedly the ones that killed Jesus and ate him. And that's what y'all worship. They eating of some damn man that they said was God, but God ain't no man. But this is sick stuff. I'm trying to tell you, man. Now, oh yeah, I read enough. I read enough for y'all to grasp. The Hebrews, which would have been the Muslims, followers of Musa, was in the desert for 42 years eating manna and sold out to the Roman powers of the time. Your Jews, that's the Julius Caesars. Not Julius Caesar, the Julius Caesars. Or July Caesars, Juli. But they were called the Jews in that time. It's just a family, but they grew as they took over the world. Everybody was down with them. Alexander the Great, whoever you could think of. Webster said, this is not a place for tackiness. A lot of y'all need to learn that. If you don't know how to converse, please don't comment here. A lot of y'all be coming in here like dirty laundry. Clean yourself up, come back then. This is top level scholarship. Salam. There you go, different angles. Read the text. They like to play little word games. You know, when I like to explain it to y'all in real life, people like to play word games. You changing the text. I already read the text. I'm just giving you insight. But you can remove my insight and just read the text yourself and say what I said. They sold him out to the Jews, but like I said, the Hebrews, which would have been the Muslims, because Musa, he stole them from Egypt, had them in the desert for 42 years, then they sold out to the Roman powers of the time, which was the early Roman Christian Catholic Church, meaning they sold out the early Christianity, which I guess was like Judaism, or the early developings of Christianity. This is why you don't have Judaism now. A Jew read from the Bible. It's just Christianity. Who's a Jew that read the Torah? None. They Christians now. Even the black Jews read the Bible, not the Torah. And so, grasp, the Jews don't know what they are. They Muslims. That's Jews because they sold out to the powers that be. Now they Christians. The lost people. But black people are not Jews. You get my point? It's just lost. No, that originally ain't got nothing to do with my people. My people just dumb. They want to be down with anything they can. So that's why you see us in every religion. We goofy. So I ain't talking about us, but we like to attach ourselves to low things and shit like that. I'm gonna say this: if you a black man, and you be like in these little groupings, man, you a fucking sucker. But depending on some of y'all to be solid, my nigga, we don't gotta bump nobody else shit. I'm out here bumping Arab shit, Christianity, everybody else shit, and we ain't got nothing for ourselves. Y'all just be like sucking dick. You need to get off that goofy shit. We the most populous people, yet we be the ones sucking the most dick. And we don't have to. We can make the whole world be whatever religion we say. Shit, I'm the wisest man on the planet. Why can't we? These other races been doing this shit for years. Islam is an Arabic religion. Christianity, you know, that Jew thing. And they at war for the people for the most part. You see how many of y'all they can influence on in each all. But let's stick to the scholarship now. So you have the Hebrews, which are Muslims, stolen from Egypt by Musa and led into the desert. And they wandered in the desert, eating manna. Then they sold out at some point to the Roman powers that be of the time. This is your early Christian Catholic Church. This is when they became Jews, which is to say they follow Judaism, which is what early Christianity would have been, you can say. Now, of course, you have these Hebrews are Muslims in the wilderness. And they sold out to the Roman powers of the time, but these people don't all do the same thing. So you get it, there would have still been Muslims, followers of Musa, separate from those who sold out to the Roman power. Think like the tribe of Judah was separate from the rest of the 12 tribes. You get it? These people be all over the place. So I'm giving you that perspective so you grasp. I just showed you how the Jews sold out to the Romans by scholarship, by the text. but there would have still been Hebrews or Muslims, as followers of Musa still. And the ones that sold out to the Roman power would have now been your Jews. This is why the Hebrews started being called Jews in the Bible. Now, at a later time, whatever Muslims or Hebrews would have still been left, at a later time, they was conquered by the same powers, your Roman Empire, your early Christianity, as Judaism know. And so do you get it? Muhammad was a Muslim. And this is basically how the Muslims became Islam. Meaning your Muslims, which is your Hebrews, they sold out to the Romans at the time, making them Jews now. Basically little baby Christians. At a later time, the rest of them was rounded up. This will be Muhammad time. He's a Muslim too, a Hebrew, a follower of Musa. And he was conquered by Jibril in the cave. Next thing you know, Muslims is Islam. Islam being the same religion as Christianity and Judaism. It has the same characters, the same storyline, and the same God. Do you get my point? Whatever a Hebrew and a Muslim was, got overridden by this religion we call Christianity, or your early Roman Catholic Church. This is why you don't have Judaism right now. Otherwise, where's it at? I'm burning something. Like I said, otherwise, where's Judaism at right now? Why does Jews read from the Holy Bible like they're a Christian? That part. Because Christianity, or early Christianity, conquered your Muslims or Hebrews, making them Jews. A Jew would have been a Christian in that time. There wasn't no Christianity yet. The Roman Catholic Church. You get it? It's the beginnings of that, or the forming of that. You can look at the Jews or Judaism like a subsidiary of Christianity, which is something that's being developed as they're conquering. In that, when you speed up to today times, there is no Judaism. Judaism is Christianity. You don't see that as weird? You go to Islam. Technically, Islam is Christianity because you got the same characters. Muhammad is just different. Meaning Muhammad ain't in Muhammad ain't in Judaism because, like I said, they sold out first. Muhammad's come later. But Muhammad is the way of Musa. And this is how you get Muslims, which would be Hebrews, becoming Jews or followers of Judaism, and then later becoming Islam, followers of the Quran. You get my point? When you speed ahead today, they got this Muslim preacher named Mary Emmanuel, M-A-R space M-A-R-I. I'm spelling the name for y'all if y'all want to look it up. M-A-R space M-A-R-I space Emmanuel with an E. That's his name. I'm bringing him up because a few days ago he got stabbed up while he was teaching. And Blood is a Muslim, an Islamic speaker. He's telling them about Jesus by that name, Jesus. So I'm saying that so you could grasp. You got white Christians that have invaded Islam right before y'all eyes. Blood is not no Arab. Blood ain't no Arab. He's posing as an Islamic person trying to slide Christianity in there so that Islam be Christianity, but they keep the name Islam. And that in the daytime, Islam is technically Christianity. It's almost there. Meaning when you speed ahead a little further along in time, Islam gonna be like Judaism, Christianity. And it ain't gonna even be around. Everybody might be under one religion called Islam, but it's gonna be Christianity. Like that. They sold out. Y'all have to grasp that. The Roman Catholic Church, the Pope and them, they rule everything. All y'all, you get it? It's been over with. Meaning y'all got a false religion. The Jesus character was written over the YHWH. So whatever wisdom or knowledge Abraham had, this is where Hebrews start. Before they was a Muslim. They became Muslims after Musa stole them out of Egypt. And they end up in Egypt because they wasn't doing right with the knowledge that they had, which was that Abraham knowledge. You know, that abracadabra, that Kabbalah. So Abraham or your Hebrews had that Kabbalah knowledge. This has to do with basically, you could say chemistry. They knew science and all these things that we know now in perspective. Well, those that know, they knew it then when it was called like sorcery. So Abraham knew the Kabbalah magic, or basically deep level science. That nigga could make lights, all kind of shit and more. Things we could do now, they wasn't doing in the past. Abraham's the beginnings of this. And of course, he worshipped whatever spirits or gods or however he choose to do it. But Abraham was the mage. And that knowledge was passed down to Isaac, Jacob, so on and so forth. But at some point, these niggas got lost and wound up in Egypt. You get it? This is when the knowledge is now lost and they're worshiping Egyptian gods, you know, the Apis bull. This is when Musa stole them. Now they're Muslims. They're still being called Hebrews. But if you ever wonder where that word Muslim comes from, Muslim, from Musa, that's Moses. So the Hebrews became Muslims. Then they sold out, of course, after being in the desert to the Roman powers of the time, your Julius Caesars. That's where Jew come from. And Judaism as well, like I said, that would have been like the beginnings of Christianity, or like a small subsidiary of it. Christianity not fully being what it is now, but they're still conquering and getting all of this situated. But you sold out to us so you could take this halfway ready doctrination called the Torah and give you the rest when we done with it, and you could throw that away. And so that's where we at now. Y'all don't have no Torahs and all that and Judaism. Y'all just Christians. But I'm giving you the perspective before these times. So you get it, it would have been like that. And then whatever Muslims, you know, this is the Hebrews after they was kidnapped by Musa from Egypt. Whatever ones of them was left that didn't sell out to the powers, that was the Romans. They got conquered at a later time. And this is the Prophet Muhammad part. But Islam is the same as Christianity. And whatever the Prophet Muhammad wisdom he had was still that ancient Hebrew knowledge, maybe. You get it? That abracadabra joint, and that's why he's telling Jibril, like, I'm not reciting what you say, because I already know truth. But Jibril choked him out, beat him up basically, and said, you're gonna recite, and if you don't, you could just die here in this cave from strangulation. And he squeezed Jibril. That means choked him out. Now, The Jesus character is an overwriting of the YHWH and the Kabbalah knowledge that the Hebrews would have had before Egypt. So the YHWH, this being the spirit, the substance of man, seminal fluid, this is the beginnings of life. Meaning whether you're a man or woman, you start as seminal fluid. Your father ejaculating you out. So this is the ancient Hebrew understanding. I'm speeding through it, but just so you can grasp. You have the YHWH. This is the God of life. That God being a spirit or a substance in man. The substance in man it's speaking of is that white seminal fluid. It's yolky and white. It looks like a ghost. Now that is the spirit of man, meaning that's all of us as spirit. We are ejaculated out as that from our fathers. So it says the YHWH comes from the Father. Remember, Jesus is written over YHWH. YHWH is pronounced you. Sound it out. The Y, yeah, yeah, yeah. The H, ha, ha, ha. The W, woo, woo, woo. The H, yeah, 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 woo, woo. You. YHWH is pronounced you. Yahashua, Yehovah, and all of that. That's to throw y'all off from the true understandings. The spirit of man are the Holy Ghost. This God was called you because we all start as that substance before we manifest physically. The substance being God before it's thrown into the egg cell are what comes from God. Of course, the substance comes from orgasm. Orgasm is nirvana. You can say orgasm is the doorway to nirvana or heaven, the land of bliss. When a man ejaculates, he's pulling spirit from heaven or orgasm. So it's not to say that the YHWH God is us, but we are from it here. We are one with it. It is with us. You get it? In that, male or female, you was ejaculated as white substance, or YHWH, the Holy Ghost, and then you was thrown into vessel. And the understanding is like the YHWH explaining to you, you get it? I am within you, but not in that body. And you get it? Explaining how you need to carry yourself and not get lost. The body is its own thing. It has its own desire. You get my point? And the teachings basically have to do with that in perspective. If you want to talk about the religious aspect of it, I guess. It's a knowledge pertaining to self. You. The substance that you started as, meaning physical life is a chemistry project. White substance mixed with the red substance, seminal fluid and blood, and then from there you get it, the spirit in the body born out. That spirit coming from a certain realm that we don't have access to. That realm is orgasm. Meaning orgasms is the beginnings of physical life, whether you're speaking an individual or life itself. When a man ejaculates, that white seminal fluid, it comes from the prostate and it yokes up all the sperm cells below. This is your fallen. As above, so below. So you could say the whole universe starts like that, the whole universe being a physical body and we being the life in it. But its start would have been like that, where you would have had your fallen below, and then the spirit or substance of God, which is that seminal fluid, on a universal scale, though with a yoke, you get it? Raised all of that dead life back to life. And then it goes into the the menses, a woman's womb. And this is where the egg cell lies. Bloody hell, you can call that. And then all of that is raised up. You can say the YHWH, which is what Jesus is writing over, is the Hellraiser. You get it? It raised up on the masculine side and the feminine side, and all is raised up and born out in the flesh. The substance that got the body being, you get it? The God of it. And what is from below goes back to below, and what is, you get it? From above goes above. But it's an understanding of self. I have videos where I explain in depth. You can just join the channel and find the videos titled, find the videos that has titles that have to do with Christianity. But overall, the Jesus character is just a writing over of the true wisdom. The Jesus character being a blasphemy or a disrespect to the YHWH. The YHWH means seminal fluid. This is why they say Jesus got spit on. The YHWH, which is seminal fluid, or seminal fluid is a representative of this God. Of course, we're all seminal fluid in body. That's our beginning. So when I'm saying seminal fluid, I'm just talking about you in your beginnings. And so do you get it? Seminal fluid looks like spit. This is why when you're dealing with ancient texts, Sumerian texts, any ancient text you could think of, they say God made man out of spit, or God spit man out. It's speaking from that perspective. You can look at the penis as a pen or a mouth, and the seminal fluid is the ink coming out of it, or the spit, if you view it as a mouth, or the snot, if you view it as Pinocchio's nose. That's what the Pinocchio story has to do with. He lies, his nose grows. Minced oath for the dick and the snot that comes out of it. Shit goes deep, but y'all don't have the real wisdom, so you get it? There's many plays off this real wisdom, meaning there's many personifications of this real wisdom, and they're all blasphemies or disrespect to the YHWH, which is what I said it was. And so that's why Jesus got spit on his face. He's beat up on the cross. He's a man. He's a lamb. You get it? If you don't know the real wisdom, the YHWH, then you get it? You just blaspheme God, not even realizing it. Remember, YHWH is you. So you just in a religion blaspheming yourself. This is why they make the God look like a man or a person. So you grasp whoever fall into this religion, this is basically them. The YHWH in body on a cross, sacrificed for the world. Meaning when y'all fall into the religion, y'all sacrifice yourselves to the world. Because the religion is of the world. Y'all got Christianity, Islam, and all these things from the world, the cities, the Babylons. Y'all ain't get it from the heart. Y'all ain't get it from out in nature. Y'all got it from men of the city and city rulers. And so do you get it? When you see Jesus on that cross, there is no Jesus. Jesus is a blasphemy against the YHWH, the YHWH being the substance that we all start as. It looks like spit, but it's all of our beginnings, and that's what we all are, and that substance comes from heaven, or orgasm. You can say when man orgasm, he go to heaven for a flash of a second, and he bring ether back from it. You know that Prometheus thing. Prometheus stole fire from heaven, and he got kicked out. It's kind of like man when he ejaculating, he bringing spirit or souls directly from orgasm or heaven. And so you get it? The Jesus character is a blasphemy of the YHWH, which is the substance we all start as before we get put into the body and born out into the world. And so the true teachings is telling you to avoid all these religious things of the world. It's a blasphemy against God. Nobody can't do nothing to God, so you get it? We God thrown in the flesh. In that, you get it? Disrespect man. Man being the only way you can disrespect God. Like I said, God is what we would call orgasm. And the substance that comes from orgasm is the YHWH, the representative of this God. Now, of course, that's all of our beginnings, that white substance that raises up the dead. This is your beginnings. You raised up the fallen in your father's sack. And it was all brought into the exile. And so the same happened. There was no menses where all of that was pushed out, but she conceived, a baby was born, and do you get it? You was that substance that did all of that. Now you're in body born into the world. The religion is a mockery of God. You and God being one. God not being here in the flesh, which is a blessing in perspective. But we are trapped here because of the sins of the Father. He like ass, the lust of his flesh is how we are in here. But God ain't here, but the message is for you like that. Like if God is speaking to you, it's saying don't get lost into the desires of the body being an extension of the world. It's how you see the world. And don't pick up or fall into none of the customs of the world. The most worldliest thing is a religion, because everybody in this world gonna say they got one. And ain't none of them created it. They just was born and took it on. And so do you get my point? It go deep. Get some of these fools out here. And so the point I'm making, if you grasp or not, stay away from religions. Especially if you black. That's not for us. We the people of nature. Y'all need to come start getting this real teaching when I be explaining Jews of life and how you learn from life. And that's the real religion, you know? But in the meanwhile, hopefully y'all grasp that Hebrew is a Muslim. And all of these things is just Christianity. And in the time to come, you gonna see, like, it's all just Christianity. And it's all just a blasphemy against God. And so when y'all say y'all gonna wash up in the blood of the Lamb and all of this dumb stuff, you just blaspheming self. And that image on the cross is an image of yourself, giving yourself to the world, or the church, which is a thing of the world. And so do you get it? Y'all are being sacrificed to below, so to say. But it's your own doing. You overlook truth, and that you a liar. And that's how the religion grabs y'all up. Meaning y'all overlook that y'all already aware that Jesus is not the accurate name of this so-called God. Jesus is a new modern Puerto Rican name. If you go back to the 1600s, there was no Jesus. The name was Isus. I-E-O-U-S. Is. Like, you could say Us. It wasn't Jesus. And all of these names, Us, Jesus, these is writings over YHWH, which is pronounced you. You follow? In that, y'all are worshiping self. Man. If you lost, y'all say Jesus was a man that walked this earth in the flesh. Y'all are worshiping man, like I said. The religion is to make y'all blaspheme God and worship man or self. Man or self-sacrificing his own self when he fall into the religion. And so the God on the cross, there was a man that was put on the cross and eaten for the Passover. I ain't saying that didn't happen. But I'm just saying that man on the cross and whoever got eaten wasn't God. And when it says Jesus raised from the dead, it's speaking of like that substance. Man ejaculate the spirit of God out. You follow? That seminal fluid. And that thing is thrown into the womb of a woman. That's bloody hell. Sacrificed to the egg and killed. In 9 months, it raised out that abyss into life. Do you get it? That's why it's like, you know, save the whole world. Now, if you understand the whole universe is a body in perspective, so you always have the coming or what raises up, but y'all don't kind of grasp this. He said ejaculate, the spirit of God. It's the only spirit of God. Everybody starts as that. It's just a laughing matter to y'all. That's why the text say like that. Like they mock. Y'all mock because y'all don't understand. Y'all understand men beat up on crosses. Not y'all beginnings. Y'all beginnings being y'all as substance. That substance that y'all all familiar with but seem to don't want to get it. And so you get my point? Y'all fall into the religion. That's how the soul end up in darkness. Yours. Meaning it's all real what you hear, but y'all don't understand it. And y'all don't understand life. And I've went on too long. I don't feel like explaining. But try to grasp. Stay out of religions. And so peace and wisdom, Rob. Nature. Like I said, if y'all want to give back, you can do so. My links are in the description. I'm about to depart. I suppose y'all grasp. A Hebrew was a Muslim first. In Islam, Christianity, and none of these religions is truth. They for the lost and low. And like I said in the beginning, most Muslims are born into it, so they never even read or even know what they following. They just a follower, like whoever you seen commenting. You see, they say Allah is one. Can you get off my channel? You're promoting religion. You're not truly religious. A religious person don't carry themselves in that way. You a clown. That part. Meaning the religion ain't shit, and that's why you see the followers conduct themselves like they do. Like little kid, dumb, gullible retards that's just recruited in something for number purpose. Look how he carrying on like an idiot. Stupid, talking for no reason. Desperate to be seen. You not a Muslim. You a follower of whatever you think is cool in the world. And that's why your ass gonna be in the darkness and dead. Some of y'all pathetic. He said, why I'm mad? Why would I be mad? Because you gonna be dead in the darkness. You not my kid or got nothing to do with me. You just a dumb tacky nigga on my channel. I don't like the tacky. You know, bums that just come anywhere blabbering. They don't even know where they at. You got people like that in physical life that do that. So I'm thinking like you one of them types. All sloppy and dirty and drunk. And just involve yourself in any conversation. And so I'm gonna let you go. You're retarded. And get your bummy life together. I see why you a Muslim. It's for the lost and dumb and broken. And so you enjoy your time in hell. You ain't got to ask if you gonna really go there. You already there. You can tell from how you carry on. Most Muslims and Christians gonna kill themselves off. So the rest of y'all that grasp, you just kick back. Let them do their ignorant thing. And that's not a joke. It already started. Palestine and Israel thing is Islam versus Christianity. They the same damn religions. Two sellouts to Christianity. But let the dumb do what they do. They only afflict themselves. So Christians will be getting killed by Muslims because they dumb as you seen this fool pop in here acting. I guess Christians gonna defend themselves. Then all the Muslims gonna be slaughtered off the face of the planet, and you get it? Then y'all can live the rest of y'all time until y'all all die and go to hell. That's the darkness. And then y'all can wait for the Spirit of God to raise y'all up out that darkness like y'all see it happen with sperm cells on a smaller scale of life. Y'all could just sit in y'all darkness and wait till the Spirit of God, the substance, raise y'all up out of y'all darkness and give y'all new life again. Then bring y'all to bloody hell, which is like the womb of a woman, and let y'all die there. That's the second death, since you don't know how to listen. That part. That's real life. That happened with the sperm cells. They are raised up out of their slumber, brought into bloody hell, and one of them gets the egg cell covered in the substance, and the rest of them, you already know what happened to them. They make for breast milk. Salam. It's a deep thing. And so below, so above. Meaning on the higher scales of life, same things is happening. Comets, which is sperm cells on larger scales of life, are getting moons, which are egg cells on larger scales of life. And so that's to let you know that things are being raised up and brought the hell of die the second death. It's a deep thing. Say not all Muslims are good or bad. It's not about a good or bad thing. It's about truth and lie. You're a Muslim, you're a liar. Like I said, Muslims don't know their own scholarship. They born into it. They're just a follower of the world. Whoever was here before them, that convinced them to be. Again, this ain't about good or bad. Who cares about that? It's about truth and lie. You lie to yourself when you in the religion and you pretend like you know it, knowing you have not looked into it thoroughly, knowing you've heard truth that I'm explaining and you playing stupid with yourself. That's what it's about. Lying to the self and then lying to others. This is what Christians, Muslims, and all religious people do. They lie to themselves like they know the religion, knowing they don't, then they spread it to others. And so for that reason, and after they do that, when they hear the truth, then they have too much pride because they don't want to look like a stupid damn dummy. And so they rather die than move their pride aside and be like, you know what, I really don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I really am just a follower. And start with the truth with self. You get my point? And that's the truth right there if you're a religious person. You're just a follower. A liar to yourself. And so, when you get there, I guess your journey of truth will begin. He said, who is going to tell you what is a lie or truth? God isn't here to tell me, only other humans and those who were before us. My channel is not for stupid people. It's for people of a certain caliber. You sound like you dumb. You sound like you a follower so bad you completely stupid. He thinks somebody gotta tell him what the truth or a lie is. You don't know shit, but you acting like you do. I'm sure you some religion. I'm sure when you with this crowd, you pretend you some kind of religion they are, and when you with the next crowd, you do the same. You seem like that type. Don't get mad. Don't get all offensive because you a bozo. This is how it is when you a bozo dealing with the real. That's why you should stop being a bozo. But you better stop commenting because I don't talk with the bozos. I talk to them. I ain't got to know everything. I know you a clown that talk too much and you emotional like your mama. Your mama being a woman. Shut your goofy fucking ass up and listen so you can learn, so you can know how to conduct yourself around men. That's what's wrong with a lot of you young goofy niggas in the day. You think it's about blabbering on and on after you've been corrected. Nigga, when you get corrected, you shut the fuck up like a man. The same way you can run your mouth, you can stand quiet on it. The little niggas like him, these little niggas that be arguing with his mama all day. He bigger than his mama now, she won't slap his teeth out, blood. You better chill with that. You's a bozo, like I said. A nigga that's not used to getting checked, cause you probably got a weak ass mama. Your daddy around? He said you need to learn to talk to respectful. I ain't got to talk to you no way, you nothing, nigga. You coming on my chin, you acting like you something. Now you getting talked to like the lesser thing you is, a little goofy. But is your daddy around? Was he around? Cause you act like a bitch. Again, you was corrected. You know you was corrected. You feel like shit, so you wanna, hey, you're a smart guy and you think you know everything. My chin wait for that sucker shit. I got an email, champ, upscaleknowledge@gmail.com. If I'm an internet warrior, you email me right now so we can all hear it pop up. And I'm gonna fuck you up on camera. And everybody gonna see you's a goofy nigga. I'm getting tired of a lot of y'all. Y'all be doing all that hooping and hollering. You not gonna pull up to nothing. You a little kid, probably can't even feed yourself. Nigga, email me. We done talking, you fucking clown. Click his shit. Get who he is. I'm gonna deal with it like that. Keep talking, nigga. You tough. Like I said, those are mine that's in here. Get his shit. Click his profile and do the work I told you about. Holy speak clown ass niggas. Dumb talking. Get lost, champ. Go have sex with your mother. I know you're kind. That's a real thing in life. Niggas be up under their mother so much. You know them single mothers. Be having sex with their mother. Too emotional to get checked. You want to get cursed out after that. Now, like I said, whatever religion you fall under, you might want to start with the truth with self and stop lying to self. Nobody don't gotta tell you what a lie or truth is. You know goddamn well if you found that religion from hearsay in the world, or if it was something that was born into your heart and it wasn't influenced on you by nothing. And can't none of y'all say that. Y'all all heard y'all religion from another person. It was influenced on you since you was born. And so that's what it's all about. Starting with truth itself and moving forward on that truth. And understanding will come to you when you start on the truth of a matter. You can't lie and expect to get truth from that. When I say lie, I'm speaking about the self. You a Christian right now? You pretending like you read this whole book right now, right? Like that, how you lie to yourself. You didn't even read the book, but you a Christian. And you a Christian just because you familiar with whoever's at the church house with you, and it's your buddy. But in terms of you being a real Christian that read through the book and fully understand it, you ain't that. Because if you read through the book, you'll grasp the book telling you not to be a Christian and explaining everything that got to do with it. And so, kind of grasp. Salam, shalom. Now, I'm about to depart. Black Hebrew Israelites, also called Hebrew Israelites, are a new religious movement proclaiming the African Eden. You got a whole bunch of stupidity in life. People sell themselves out for absolutely nothing. And most of them people in them groups you talking about gonna wake up and go to work. They hate their life. They ain't got nothing going on, and you get it. It's the small few sell out the many, and you get it? Let the goofies sell their own self out. The rest of y'all, come into self. Learn self. So you ain't got to be a bozo desperate to be dependent on others to make you feel like you something. Because that's how they end up like that. You're online desperate to feel like they apart so much that they won't be digitally apart. That part. Y'all better get real and stop playing with y'all lives. When y'all babies need food, these fucking organizations and groups y'all a part of ain't putting no food on y'all table. Y'all coming to beg a nigga like me. Yeah, that part. I got family members that's Christian and everything in the world. When they fucked up, they come in all to me. Go to your fucking Christian friend. Y'all fake like that. That's what's wrong with religion, people. Y'all ain't true. Y'all live any kind of disorderly way. Whatever the world doing, y'all going with it. Never taking account of self and paying attention to self. And so, the same way you go to sleep at the end of the day and you snatch into the unconsciousness or darkness, well, view your life as day and view your death as night. Try to grasp balance. Salam.